Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Tyrone Siren. I'm from Holborn Assets, and I want to welcome everyone to this regional Holborn Pass seminar on the Portuguese Golden Visa. I'm happy that all of our partners here in Asia and really all of our teams around the world have pitched in to really make what I think is going to be a great webinar. Especially our teams in Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam. Everyone's really come together. They've promoted very hard. They've studied the program very hard. They've whipped up a lot of clients and to bring them in to hopefully show them a really good product. And I think this is such a critical time to be discussing this product, because as our legal partners, our attorneys in Portugal are going to explain later, there's a lot of changes coming to the program. Actually, there's not a lot, but they're major changes, which will affect the type of properties you can buy and for what price you can buy them at. So really actually very critical. So we'll have our partners in Portugal speaking in about 15 minutes after I finish up. So I'm going to keep my presentation short and sweet, just talk a little bit about what Holborn does and how we can help you, and a little bit about our latest property. So a lot of you might know, but if you don't, Holborn Assets has been a wealth management company since 1998. It's one of the largest wealth management companies in the world. It has offices, as I just mentioned, all around Asia, but also in Dubai, where there's several hundred wealth managers, South Africa, and across Europe. So I would say one of Holborn Assets' greatest assets is its people. There's people all around the world in their offices. So wherever you might be, whether you need help, planning your finances, or you want your family to consider getting a second passport or a residency in another country, you're never too far away from a Holborn office and a qualified Holborn team member. Myself, I joined on with Holborn about a year ago to help head up their immigration division. I'm in charge of the Asia Pacific region, along with my partners in Dubai, South Africa. We're building out a team of immigration specialists within the Holborn company. That being said, we also work within a wealth management company, so we are very careful with the sort of products we recommend. And we make sure they're financially viable, but that they're good immigration products that will get you and your family what they need. I've been doing this business for about 13 years, all across Asia and the world. I've helped families from China, Vietnam, the Middle East, Africa, immigrate to the US and to Europe and get Caribbean passports. And I was ranked a few years ago as one of the top CEOs in the entire industry. So I'm really happy to be working with Holborn. I'm really happy all of our teams here in Asia joined us, and our teams from around the world. There's a few more out there. But especially you potential clients who joined in to listen. We're really excited today to talk about our latest project in Portugal and the benefits that we'll have. Later on, I'll be bringing up Barbara Pistana and Antonio Patricio, and they'll discuss from a legal perspective the changes to the Portuguese Golden Visa program. So first of all, I just want to make a brief introduction about the products that Holborn offers before I go into an explanation and a description of our current product. There's really, I kind of divide immigration products up into two categories, and that is there's citizenship programs and residency programs. And citizenship programs they're just that. They're programs designed to get you a citizenship, or maybe more colloquially, a passport in a short amount of time. It's a direct route to a passport. And a lot of the small Caribbean islands, that little chain of islands between Florida, the US state of Florida and South America, they make it very easy for you to get a very good passport. So the small countries of Antigua, St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, to name a few, they allow you to make a government donation to the country. And from anywhere from 100,000 for one person to about 150,000 US dollars for a family of four, your family can get a passport in about 4 to 6 months. And these are great passports. They allow visa-free travel to most of Europe, to the UK, special access to the US and Canada in at some points. So, but I consider these more kind of travel documents because although these are incredibly beautiful islands, they're tropical paradises, and tourism is their #1 industry. Their second industry is selling and getting people citizenship. So these aren't places that you'll probably think about relocating with your family. Probably a place you'll think about going on vacation once or twice a year, but certainly not places that you'll probably relocate your family unless you're really interested in the tourism and hospitality business. But the residency programs, on the other hand, they're very popular with European countries, and I consider them more destination locations. So countries like Malta, the UK, Portugal, Greece, Spain, they all offer kind of long-term residency permits. Some people, we often call them golden visas. And a lot of time these residency permits are a pathway, albeit a longer pathway, to citizenship in these countries. Now, I'm going to spend this presentation talking about Portugal, not because I'm Portuguese or I'm married to Portuguese. I'm an American, but after more than a dozen years in this industry, I think what the Portugal program has done better than most any other program in the world is they've got a really good price and a really great product, and one of the most flexible. And I think it's all about the flexibility that makes their product so strong, and that really makes it outperform the others. So I look at this as not from a personal point of view. I'm trying to look at it from an objective point of view as a immigration specialist, but also from a financial advisory perspective too, to make sure this is a good investment and it's a good immigration product. So what makes the Portuguese program special? One of the main things that makes it great is that you get a lot of bang for your buck. For the amount you have to pay, you get a tremendous amount of immigration benefit. So, for making a very reasonable investment into a property of $280,000, you, your spouse, your children, and your parents can all get a golden visa and be on a pathway to citizenship. So again, that's 3 generations of family. So it's incredibly actually generous that most governments in the world do not allow you to take your parents, for example, or they don't allow you to take your elder children a bit. So that's one of the major highlights. It's also that it's a very fast processing time. And it takes about less than a year. It's a very straightforward process. You buy a property, but perhaps kind of the biggest payoff is that you are on a very clear pathway to either permanent residency or citizenship in 5 years. So after having the golden visa for 5 years, you have the right to apply for permanent residency or for citizenship. And I know Barbara's going to speak a bit about that, a bit more about that later. That is an incredible payoff, especially considering you're only required to spend 35 days there over the course of 5 years. So you don't have a huge time commitment to Portugal to achieve a very big immigration benefit. If you want to compare it to some of the other golden visa countries in Europe, look at Spain, it's 10 years and you have to spend 6 months a year there. Greece, 7 years, and you have to spend 6 months a year there per year. So I think the Portuguese golden visa really works well for what a lot of our clients are looking for. Most of our clients aren't looking to move to Portugal tomorrow. They're not maybe it's a long-term plan. They're thinking about their children's future. They like the idea of visa-free travel around Europe. They like the idea of being able to reside in Portugal and to work there. But they're not necessarily moving there today. Most of it, you probably have a good job, and or a good business, and you're not, really, you don't want to leave it right now. Well, since you only have to spend 1 week a year there, you really can be flexible. You can kind of keep your life in your current country, whether you're in Bangkok or you're in Hong Kong, and you start anticipating a larger move maybe someday, or else you get the passport in 5 years and you just have access to the European Union. I guess it doesn't we don't have to talk too much about what the European Union is, but it makes up, 27 countries. And with a European Union passport, which a Portuguese passport is, you get access to all of these countries, from Germany to France to Greece, Italy. And then you have the right to live, work, and your children can study in any of those countries. So again, this is a very big immigration payoff for a very small, secure investment. And then the Portuguese passport on its own is just a very powerful travel document. It's maybe the third or fourth most powerful passport in the world. You can travel to at least 158 countries visa-free. I think there's even a few more being added all the time. So for just a 5-year ownership of a property for a small investment in real estate for 5 years, you spending just 1 week a year there per year over that 5 years, and learning a bit of Portuguese, you're going to qualify for this amazing passport. And really, we can provide you more information. There's no other program in the world that has this kind of payoff for that amount of investment. So what is the investment in Portugal? Well, when the program started, it was a 500,000 euro investment. And it tended to attract wealthier people from Asia, from China, from Hong Kong. And they tended to invest in the core cities of Lisbon and Porto. And they wanted new properties. And that caused the price of real estate to go up. And the Portuguese government realized this and decided, that this program should be benefiting more than just big real estate developers in big cities. And so they started giving incentives for people to invest in areas outside of the major cities. So, for example, what we do now is we specialize in properties that are more than 30 years old, because they also want you to rebuild old properties, not just build new properties, in low density and low population density areas. So the price goes down to 280,000 if you get into the right area. And Holborn has been just absolute experts at identifying great properties in great locations, but that still qualify for 280,000. And I think I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was to ask one of my financial advisor colleagues, he would probably say, or she would say, you get the same amount of benefits for 280,000 as you do for 500,000. You get the same golden visa. You get it in the same amount of time. You're on the same pathway to citizenship. So why spend more? Why invest 500,000? Why buy a 500,000 property if you can get one for 280,000? If you can make that 280,000 euro investment, that frees up another 220,000 that you can put into maybe a more higher performing investment that you can use, for your children's education. There's a whole range of things you can do with that. So again, what we really try to focus on and recommend is that, for the properties that are 280 to 300,000 in the price range that we offer, they get you the exact same thing that the 500,000 euro investments do in the big cities. And possibly what we offer is actually more secure, and as a real estate investment will probably mature better over the next 5 to 6 years. So, and the real estate, it is a real estate investment. The Portuguese real estate market has done very well over the last 10 years since the Great Recession in 2008 and 9, 10. So real estate makes good sense. I'm just showing some of our recent projects by Holborn. These are all projects we've done so far this year. As you can see, we've done around, about 70 investors so far. And our partner who supplies us our products, the Developer Investment Group in Portugal, we've been working with them for several years, and we've done more than 450 successful cases. So these are just the most recent properties, all located, well, 3 of these are located in the Algarve, which is in the south of Portugal. And this is where we typically recommend investments. So this is our latest project. It's called Pine Hill Plaza. That's an actual photo of it. So you can see it's a pretty nice small apartment building, just minutes from the sea. It's located in a city named Albufeira in the Algarve, which again is probably, the Algarve is one of the more famous tourist destinations in all of Europe. It's not only famous in Portugal, it's very famous with British people, you know, Germans, Scandinavians, you know, looking to escape the winters and enjoy some sunshine. The weather tends to be perfect there. As you can see, it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. It has great golf courses, several PGA courses, several Michelin star restaurants, and Albufeira, the city where our property is located at, is really one of the most dynamic cities in the region. So, you know, what we've done with this property is we've identified a really kind of key economic zone and a property inside the city of that key economic zone, but that still qualifies for that lower investment threshold of 280,000. So, you know, what we were trying to bring together is the best of both worlds. You end up in a location, you know, that will perform as well as any of the big cities like Lisbon or Porto, but you don't have to spend 500,000. You only have to spend 280,000. So a little bit about the property itself. The property, as you can see, these are small holiday properties, often rented out to, well, tourists. And it's one of the unique things about this particular property is that it's located next to a five-star hotel, the Jupiter Hotel. This is a very famous hotel, and we've negotiated a deal with the Jupiter Hotel that people who stay in these apartments will be able to use the facilities like the swimming pool, the gym, and other facilities at the hotel. So you really kind of get five-star amenities, but with a little bit of distance and a little bit of you know, something that feels like home. So the client buys these properties, and they own them. You know, this is a title deed. You don't own a share of a hotel. You actually own a unit, and we try to offer a turnkey solution so that you know, this isn't necessarily a lifestyle property that you're going to buy and move to and live in, or you know, that you're going to have to worry about managing for the next several years. It's something that we will manage 100% for you. And so again, we want to make this as kind of easy as possible. Remember, we build immigration products that have a real estate investment component. So the thing we always look at first of all is, does this work for immigration? You know, will this qualify for the gold visas is the most important thing. And then, you know, does it fit our client needs? You know, it's is it going to be something that is good priced, that the client can own? Is it secure? You know, we only buy properties that are in existence. So, you know, there's no construction risk. You know, I think we've all been around the real estate industry enough, or, you know, seen enough projects that they don't always get finished when people start building them. So we choose products that are already there, but we refurbish them 100% and, you know, make them brand new furniture inside, you know, everything's remodeled inside and outside. And then we offer a very good solid return of 3% of the cost of your apartment or your investment. So, and that's net. So that, you know, there's no surprise maintenance fees. There's no surprise management fees. If a water pipe breaks in the middle of the night, you know, nobody's going to call you up and ask you to figure out how to fix this in Portugal. And then after 5-6 years, the developer will give you the option that they will buy it back for the same price that you paid for it. So that's really, just a great option, because what you have then is, after you apply for your passport or your permanent residency after 5 years, you no longer have to keep a property. You know, that requirement is over. So you're going to have the option to either sell the property back on the open market if you feel like the property appreciated enough over you know, 4 years, that it's worth you taking the time to sell it and, you know, take some of that capital gains out. That's fine. Or, you know, maybe after 5 years, you go, no, I don't want to think about this. I haven't quite moved to Portugal yet. I don't know the market. The developer will just buy it back from you at the same price. So again, it's just kind of an all-around turnkey solution where, you know, it starts with, we can do everything online, almost everything online. And, you know, as far as the purchase of the property goes, it's managed all the way through. You get a return, and then you get a guaranteed buyback at the end. So here's the property has been selling amazingly fast in the past few years. I'm sorry, not in the past few years, the past few months. They've been selling fast for the past few years, but especially in the past few months, because we really have a unique product. And I say that sincerely, not just as, as somebody working for Holborn. We do have something very unique, and nobody else has anything like it for all the reasons I just mentioned. So we tend to sell about 20 units a month, because no one has products like ours that are in such a good location at the prices we have, with the guaranteed buybacks and the great management team. So this is our current property. I think we have 6 sold, and we might have sold one this morning as well. The price is around $295,000. We're happy to sit down at another time and go through the floor plans and let you pick the units. And again, you own the units for these. You have a title deed for this property. Sometimes people always ask you, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is, you end up with a 1-bedroom apartment here with a view of the beach. I think that's the worst case scenario with this. That's been, completely remodeled with brand new furniture. So, but we've gone one step further, because there are some changes coming up to the program. And Barbara and Antonio are going to talk about those. But we did just one more thing to incentivize our clients, and that is normally, as I said, we pay 3% per year for 5 years. So let's just make the math easy. Say you bought a 300,000 euro property. That means you would get 9,000 euros per year times 5 years. That's 45,000 euros. That's a total of kind of 15% return. What we're doing is that after you make the full purchase of the property, so after you pay the full 300,000 euros, for example, we would return 45. Sorry, not the right phrase. We pay your investment return immediately, your 5 years return. So 45,000 euros comes back to you right away. So your effective capital outlay is 255,000. So just another way we've tried to minimize the financial risk here is that you don't have to worry about in 3 years or 4 years are we going to pay your return? You've already got it. And then just to make it a bit more interesting is that the developer will split any profits over 7% in the property. They'll split them 50-50. The developer projects that the property should profit around 8 to 9%. So you could probably anticipate, maybe a 1% extra return on that. So we still try to make it a reasonable investment, but also we've made it the very best immigration product we can. Okay, so I'm just going to summarize quickly, and then I'm going to let Barbara and Antonio take over. So on a project side, this is a good project, right? It's a low investment amount. It's an existing property. We do have third-party appraisals too. I think that's important. So that what you're buying today is valued at what you're paying for it. We have buyback guarantees at the same price you paid for it. The properties are fully furnished with no management fee or operation fees. And you're working with a team that's done this 450 times with 100% success rate. And working with the team that I'm bringing up next with Barbara and Antonio, so they really know how to work with us and work with the clients to get them through the golden visa process. And then as far as the immigration benefits, once you're a Portuguese golden visa holder, you're getting access to the education and healthcare system. You can bring your parents and your children. It's a fast processing time. You can work in Portugal, which I didn't bring that up, but that's one of the benefits is compared to other countries that you can work there, and a clear pathway to citizenship or PR. So I really think that as an immigration product and as a real estate investment, we've built something very special and unique. And I'm just going to flip through these last ones. This is what the properties will look like once they're refurbished. And now I'll introduce Barbara and Antonio. They've been waiting patiently. So Barbara and Antonio are partners at bring up there at Pax Legal, and they're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming changes, which are actually very important for you to consider. And then after that, I think we'll go to questions. And I do want to say it's always a pleasure to work with Barbara and Antonio. They're very efficient, and they've done a great job getting our clients through. And so, and I think you'll appreciate working with them as well. So I'll let you guys take over, Barbara and Antonio.
Thank you very much, Tyrone. We must say, we also like very much to work with you and all Holborn cabinets. It's really for us very gratifying to see that in fact everything goes very well with you, because since you have the good product and we have the good service, the client gets happy, and for us this is very important. Tyrone has already introduced us. I am Barbara. This is my partner, Antonio. I am the head partner of the immigration department, and Antonio is the head partner of the real estate department. Pax Legal is our company. We are founding partners of Pax Legal, and we work with the Golden Visa program since the beginning of the program. So since I think 2013, we have a 100% success tax rate. Tax rate?
Success
rate.
Successful tax, yes.
And we were pioneers in this modality of the investment in the low density areas. So we were the first cabinet after a long run against the foreign services to obtain this kind of visa. So we are specialized in immigration and real estate. I would like to, I think everybody knows that, and Tyrone has already said, that Golden Visa is going through a big change next year. That makes that we have the actual conditions, the actual regime until December 31st, 2021. And then we'll have a new regime from January 1st, 2022. The main change is regarding the type of property that will be eligible for the Golden Visa. For now, so at this moment with the regime that we have, we can invest in every territory in Portugal. And that's if we invest the minimum amounts required, we can obtain a Golden Visa. If we do all the steps correctly, and we invest a minimum amount, and we can invest everywhere, and our investment will be eligible for the Golden Visa. From January 1st, 2022, this will not happen. The investments that will be eligible in every territories will be only the real estate, since we are talking here in real estate investments. Only the real estate investment for commerce and services can be done everywhere around Portugal. For housing, we will have limitations, restrictions. We will only be able to invest in the interior, in the inland territories. I would ask Tyrone to just go one slide forward. Yes, and here you see the map of the territories that will be eligible for the Golden Visa in 2022. Well, as you see, the Algarve is not included for the next year. But what I must say is that before even we had the Golden Visa program, the best places to invest were Lisbon, Porto, and Algarve. And why? Because they have really a good quality of life, nice weather, good food, everything and everything. It's a very comfortable place to be. And so every foreigners that would come to Portugal, almost everyone wanted to go to the Algarve. This is the fundamental idea of the change, the big change of the golden visa in the real estate property. Of course, there will be other changes with other type of investments, like capital investments, etc., etc. And the difference is that, Tyrone, can I please ask you just to move one forward again? So one behind.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, one forward.
Oh, there we go.
Exactly. So, okay. So what we see is that besides of the real estate investment, we have other modalities that go really higher in prices. So we see that the international capital transfer of or purchase of shareholding in a Portuguese company, it costs now 1 million euros and will be costing 1,100,000. Also, the international transfer of capital for research activities developed by a public or private scientific research institutions will have, now they have a minimum amount of 350,000 and it will go up to the 500,000. If you go to the next table, you see also that all the investments that has to have with capitalization are also climbing the minimum investments. So this is a general idea of what the changes will be and what we have now and what we will have in January 2022. What I would think that would be interesting for you to know is like more the practical terms of the procedure. And I would like to start telling you how it will be. So one important thing, as Tyrone already pointed, is that you can do almost everything at a distance. We take care of all the procedure for you. And you must come only here for one time to make your biometrics in the foreigners services. So we start by the first thing that we have to do is to get you a tax ID. The tax ID is the base for everything. Is with that document that you are going to open your bank account. You don't have to come to Portugal to open your bank account. We can do it all at a distance. And then we will sign the power of attorneys, all the contracts that you have to sign, make the deed, submit the application to CEF, wait for a pre-approval, then schedule your visit to CEF after we have the pre-approval. Then you come for the biometrics, and then we wait in normal terms about 8, 10 to 12 month maximum. Of course, that we have to tell you that since we are in COVID time, these timings, we cannot guarantee you that this will happen in these timings. I am telling you about the normal terms, okay? So after you have your golden visa, you only must be here about 7 days per year. So this is the flexibility that Tyrone was talking about. And after you accomplish all the visits and the renewals, you, for now, will have renewal at the end of year 2 and then at the end of year 4. And at the year 5, you can apply for the permanent residency or for the citizenship, as long as you have an A2 level in Portuguese language. I think that, do you want
The first picture, yes.
That's
yes.
the big picture
main
of the
picture is
thing?
that, yes.
Of course, you will have a lot of doubts, and we are here to yeah, to respond to all the doubts. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Barbara and Antonio. First of all, I'll just kind of ask out there if there's anyone who has a question that you'd like to direct either towards myself or to Barbara and Antonio. This is a good time to do it. We still have a bit of time. I'm going to ask a question that I think that we can just maybe clarify, and that is that really it's what we're looking at is, let's see, it's July now, so about 4.5 months before the end of 2021. You know, the year goes fast.
Yes.
So what is the timeline as far as you see being able to take clients in and get them in at these lower investment thresholds in these better areas? Basically, when would your office say, you know, we need your files ready to go by?
Yes, I would say in the month of October, beginning of October, just to give us time. And because of, again, of the COVID, things are taking a little bit longer. Things that we used to do in 1 week, 2 weeks, now it takes a little bit longer. For instance, for the tax ID, we used to get it in 2 days. Now it can take a week. For the opening the bank account, normally we could do it in 2 weeks. Now it can take a little bit more, like 3 or 4. So we must be prepared, because the deadline that we have to submit the application is December 31st. So we cannot take risk. And that's why we are saying October. I think it's
yes, what we have to accomplish is the deed must be made still this year, and all the documentation must be ready to submit to CEF. Yes. That's the main issue. But we are prepared to go forward immediately. So to sign the documentation, try to do the deed, I would say we're in July, in September maximum. In September, we can do the deeds. So this means that we will have all the documents ready to submit to CEF in October. That's still a normal provision, so we can fulfill the deadline that would be December 2021.
Okay, great. We have a few questions coming in here. Someone asked, do you have to buy the property before you submit the application? So
yes.
do you have to make the investment in the first? Right.
Yes.
Before. The
Right,
question is.
So are we? Should we read these questions?
We can answer them.
I guess.
Yes. So
let me stop sharing the screen, I think, right now. So give people some anonymous.
Okay.
So it'll be a little bit more anonymous for some of our people asking questions. Oh, but you can read them as well. So yeah, you go ahead. I realize that you can see them on your side.
So the 35 days is cumulative, or needs to be 7 actual days per year. Same. 5 years for each 5 years. So you can, for the moment, the 7 days or 14 days. So the thing is that you have to do 7 days per year or 14 days in 2 years. For instance, before the COVID, the first card would be valid for a year. So you would have to do 7 days on that year, okay? You could do 1 day today, and then the other 6 in December, or even before you came to make the renewal. You could do it all directly before you come to the renewal. Maybe it's more practical sometimes. Now, since we have the pandemics, the first card is valid for 2 years. That means that before you come for the renewal, or at the time you come for the renewal, you can choose to make 1 day this year, and the other 13 days next year, you can make all the days. You can spend the days in Portugal the way you you want to, the way it fits you. So who funds the refurbishment?
I can answer that one. Okay, what is important is that the amount for the deed and the refurbishment accomplish the minimum necessary. This means that you will support the refurbishment, but that is in the price of the 280,000. So it means that the prices and the refurbishment must be the minimum required by law for the golden visa.
So in the case of most of the properties I showed you earlier, the total cost is 295,000, and that includes the refurbishment cost. So there's no additional costs on top of that.
That means that part of that price is for the deed and another part is for the refurbishment. Yes.
So that's right. That's right.
There will be different contracts also. There will be a contract for the deed, whereas the price of the property, and there will be a construction contract, because that is required by CEF. And that refurbishment contract or work contract will be the amount for the refurbishment, but all in the same amount that Tyrant said.
Okay, so why do we have to buy the property and then apply?
Yes.
I think we have answered this one. Yes, definitely. What is the process? Well, the process is like I've said before. So
you have to do the contracts, submit everything to CEF, wait for a pre-approval. Once the CEF reapproves, you have to come to Portugal for the biometrics, and then you get the card, and then you have to fulfill all those steps we already talked about.
You maintain the investment for the 5 years and come to Portugal in an average of 7 days a year.
There's a few questions coming through the chat room too, and there's one that I know is a question I get from almost every client. And that is, what is the cutoff age for children to be included on the golden visa?
So, there is not a cutoff age. Okay, what we need to prove is that the children are dependent. Of course, if they are studying, they are dependent. So even if they are 23, even if they are 23, they can still be eligible if they keep studying, and if they are not married. That is another requirement. So the kids must not be married when they ask for the family reunification, and also in each renewal that they make. So they have to maintain all the requirements until the 5 years. Okay.
Oops. Okay. Sorry. There's a question that maybe I will take. Give you guys just a break for a minute about the return on this particular investment. So could you please give me a breakdown using the amount of the property shown and explain the 50-50 profit split? So on the properties that we're offering here, it's just to make it easy, we'll say it's a 300,000 euro property. And normally what we would do is pay 3% per year for 5 years. So that on a 300,000 property, that would be a 9,000 euro per year return. But we're going to pay all that interest and return up front, or what we call up front, but within 30 days after you purchase the property, we'll return 45,000 to you, or give you that as your investment return. So that, like I said, it minimizes any risk of you not being paid your investment return, over the course of 5 years. Then on top of that, we offer a shared to share in the profits. So anything over 7% profit for the entire property will be shared with you 50-50. So they anticipate that the property will probably generate a 8 to 9% return, and so they would share anything over 7% with you. So probably you'd get about a 1% return. based on a 300,000 euro purchase. So about an additional 3,000 per year.
All right, let me just precise. Can I just precise one thing? Is that
Yes.
from the amounts that you receive, the investor receives from the rental revenue, they have to pay in Portugal. It's mandatory to pay a withdrawal tax. That's the amount of 25% that all landlords have to pay, and it's deductible in the rent. So the investors have to face that amount. It's mandatory. Okay.
Right. Yeah, there's certainly tax consequences for receiving income from your rental unit, whether you pay it over 5 years, whether
it's really not
to return over 5 years or at one time. So it is something to be aware of when you make that purchase. See another question here. Can I start working in any EU country after I get the visa? What kind of visa do I actually get? We kind of use the casual term golden visa, but what sort of visa is it actually that they will get, and what are their rights?
It's a visa for investment. Okay, it's a residence permit for investment activity. That is the name of the visa. And no, you cannot work in any country of the European Union. You can work in Portugal, and you can spend 3 months in any country of the European Union. Of course, that since we don't have borders, it's difficult to prove that you are in the other country of the European Union for more than 3 months. But what the law says is that you can only stay in a European country for 3 months, even if you have a card, a residence card in Portugal, or even if you have a European citizenship. So I think I have answered to this one. So what is the type of visa we will receive right after the approval? So it's a temporary visa valid for, in this moment, for 2 years. In these 2 years, you must be in Portugal for 14 days. You can choose during the 2 years the period that you want to stay here. So if you want to come all in a row, or if you want to come 3 days now and 4 days then, and then even the rest of the time until the end of 2 years. So is it a vignette or it's a residence card? It's I don't have here one, but it's a card. It's a card like an ID card that you will receive. Okay, so about the legal costs, it has a 2 stages. When we submit to CEF, there is an analysis fee that CEF charges. That it's I think it's 533 euros. It updates every year, but at this time I think it's 533 per each. So for the investment and for each family member. And then after the approval, so when before you get your residence card, you have to pay about 5,000, yes, 200, 500, 300 and something. I cannot precise at this moment. I mean, if you give me a moment, yes, I can. Just give me a second.
But it's more or less, it's 5,300.
Yes, yes. I don't have it here, but well, it's that amount. It's 533 something also. 5,300 something. And that's it. And for each renewal, it's half of that amount. in renewal fees, and there will also be the analysis fees when we submit the application of renewal. That will be the same amount of 533.
Right. So it really depends a lot on the size of the family, also, doesn't it?
Yes.
Whether
Yeah.
it's just a single person or 5 people. And we're happy to work up a budget for you based on that. You know, we work with Barbara to do that.
If for the permanent residency, the fee is about 7,000 euros per person. But in other hand, if you apply for citizenship, the fee is about 250 at this moment.
Is that right? Wow, so it's much cheaper to be a citizen than a permanent resident.
Yes, it is.
But you
Wow.
have to know Portuguese.
But also you have to know for the permanent residency anyway. So
on that note, I see one of the other questions that I get asked a lot, and that is, we were just talking about you can apply for permanent residency or citizenship. Can you explain? That is actually 2 options. In a lot of countries, it's a stepping stone. You get to be a permanent resident, then you become a citizen. Where in Portugal, it's more of an option that the golden visa holder will have. And then take that question one step further and say, what are the risks of being denied, or you know, what are some of the risks of getting approved for those?
Well, first of all, we analyze each process, and we absolutely advise or say, tell the client if there is any risk in his application. But normally, in general, the thing that may make that you will not have the citizenship is not knowing the Portuguese language, or not making or having, for instance, a diploma, an A2 diploma that is not valid for the government in Portugal, because there are specific tests and specific schools that will give you the diploma that you need for the citizenship, or for the permanent residency. So don't go making courses everywhere, because it will not be good for the visa or for the citizenship. I mean, you can take your course everywhere, but you will have to make a test. Okay. So if you know language for like an A2 level, and you have a diploma, this will not be valid in principle unless it is a certified school that has protocol with the government, the Portuguese government. What I was saying, so about, oh, no. I was saying about, so that is, those are the motives that may lead you to a rejection of a residence, permanent residency, or citizenship. So not knowing the language, having a bad diploma, not an unapproved diploma, and also having a criminal record that may jeopardize your applications.
And they have to own the property. But they have to continue owning the property.
Yes, exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
The foundation of it.
So that's it. I think it's the main.
All right.
point.
I think there's a few more questions, but we're getting close to the end of time here.
I'd like to respond to that question.
Sure.
About do we have to pay the 25% of the 45? Yes, this is true, but I want to point out that while you apply in Portugal for this program, you will have a fiscal representative. Normally, we work with APTC. They're very competent, and they will fulfill every year your annual revenue. This means what? Well, all your income that you will receive, and that's the rent, you also be deductible the refurbishment that is made, because you're paying the refurbishment. So this means that you will, at the end of the year, you will not have to pay the whole amount of the 25%. You will receive some parts of it. So yes, you will deduct the 25% from the rental, but at the end of the year, it all comes to account, and you will have a more benefic situation. But by then we can ask APTC to clarify everything also, if you want.
That's really important to clarify, because these are refurbished properties, so they're going to have a lot of expenses. I think we'll kind of wrap things up, but
Yep.
I think what we can all take away here is that there is a limited amount of time to be able to go into the program in its current form. So, I think we all agree that it'd be better if everyone could get started earlier, as soon as possible. It will make all of our lives a bit easier as far as paperwork processing goes, and overcome those little hurdles that always come up during any case. So everyone who joined, thank you for joining. I encourage you to reach out to your Holborn representative in your home country, or you're always welcome to reach out to me. But I think you've got really good qualified people in each of the countries around Asia. And then we'll work out the details of the process, the detailed costs. Put you in touch with Barbara and Antonio to ask some of maybe your specific immigration questions, and build a case and make you comfortable with this. But there certainly is not a lot of time left, and we're selling these properties pretty quickly, and there's not a lot of good properties left, to be honest. Our suppliers really trying hard to find us more properties. So I've never been one to really hard sell, but I'm going to say, right, you have to start acting right now. That there's just this property will probably be sold out in the next week. And we hope to have another, but there's no guarantee we will. And the program is going to change significantly in the next 4 or 5 months, 6 months. So take advantage of what's available now. My experience in the immigration business for the last decade has been that programs do change, and they don't always necessarily get easier. So, and just whatever the changes might be, take advantage of what's here now, because that's what we know exists. We know how to work in this system. We know what the rules are. So why increase your risk of trying to apply in a year from now under a different program? With that, I'm going to thank all of our Holborn teams in Thailand, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Vietnam. And a big thanks to Barbara and Antonio for tuning in today and taking on all these questions. I know they're very busy processing cases, but it's always nice to see their faces and get to chat a bit with them and have them answer questions. So thanks a lot, everyone. Move quickly. That's all I can say. I mean, it's in everyone's best interest.
It's true.
All right. So have a good
Thank you very much.
Evening, wherever you might be at.
Thank you. Bye-bye.